when I look at your early life, it's a pretty amazing story. When you were in high school, you were the star athlete of that school. You were not only an exceptional football player, right? You were also an extraordinary basketball player and had received several letters from colleges wanting you to play basketball for them, right?
Yes, sir.
And then at that crucial point in your life, you ended up going to jail and never going to college and playing ball. It was what was like a coke rap, right? You were dealing some coke.
Yeah.
And is when you look back on that time in your life and they sent you to jail, it could have been a whole different career. Like you might have become a professional athlete. You were that good. Am I correct?
I think that if I would have pushed myself, Howard, I could have been, but I wasn't pushing myself. I was more entertained with the money and the fast life and the things that were there accessible without the work ethic. The fast money. And the basketball and the football require practice and attention and coaching. And I wasn't really into that at that point once I received, my high school introduction. I was into the money and the girls and trying to be something that I wasn't. And as I look back at it, I'm thankful that it happened like that because it shaped me and molded me into something that I'm proud of today. Because if I'd have been an athlete, I don't think I would have been as great as I am right now. Because I look at a lot of athletes and their peak potential is only a certain amount of years. They don't have the ability to recreate themselves and to try different things and diversify their portfolio. But me, being the rapper that I was and the person that I am, I've been able to do many different things because I'm not restricted to just one sport or one particular lane.
Right. In a way, if you had become a ball player, maybe, you would have had a couple of good years, who knows, or maybe you would have fizzled in college
Right.
and all of
Got
that stuff.
injured,
But
who knows?
I
Yeah.
wonder what it would have been like for you to have gone to college. And maybe the fast life has to do with at 12 years old, you join a gang. And I think when you're exposed to that kind of lifestyle, it almost becomes inevitable that you're going to take a different path, right?
Yeah, but in the beginning, it's like the gang is not as violent as they became. It was the gang was just the gang of the homies, like my friends. We just were a gang that was young and innocent and not knowing. And then as time went on, 13, 14, 15, the neighborhood received drugs and guns that were placed there for some apparent reason.
Right.
And then they got into the wrong hands. And then once they got into the wrong hands, things began to happen. And as you get older, you experience different things and you're challenged with being, someone who's scary or someone who's down. Somebody who's scary ain't gonna do no crimes and ain't gonna try to get involved, but somebody who's down gonna really be trying to impress a lot of people and doing things that are stupid because he's young. And I was in the middle of, both. Sometimes I was scary, sometimes I was down, but I appreciate the facts that I had the opportunity to learn how to be who I am now.
Like at 12, they say, you were in the Crips, but were you officially like in, or was it just you hanging out with your friends? Was there ever,
Nah.
there's no induction ceremony like the mafia or something like that,
No,
right?
it was just hanging out, infatuated, looking at the older guys and seeing what they was doing and wanting to be a part of it, and they welcoming you in because you young. And then as you get older, it's like, okay, well, you really want to be in the game, you got to do something now. Now you got to prove yourself, and it's not a game no more. It's not a joke no more. It's not just, hey, we hanging out. No, we need to do something now. And now it becomes, are you gonna be that scary guy or you gonna be that down guy? And if you're a part of a gang, you really don't want to be that scary guy.
Were you ever afraid when people said to you finally, okay, now it's either put up or shut up and become a man, quote unquote, according to the gang? Did you ever experience fear, or were you fearless?
No, I was always scared. Like
Scared?
I'm scared. Like
Yeah.
that's why I believe I survived because you have to either have fear or respect. And I didn't understand respect, so I feared everything. So I was basically moving and grooving, trying to figure out what to do and what not to do. A lot of times I got shot at. A lot of times I had a gun in my possession and could have shot back, but I was too scared to shoot back because I was so concerned with my life. It's either fight or flight. And most of the time when you're out there, it's flight.
How old were you the first time someone handed you a gun, or you had a gun in your possession? How old were you that, yeah, you were walking around with a gun?
15, 16.
Did you even know how to fire the thing? There's,
They don't send you to the
yeah,
range.
right. There's no, it's
Just
just,
on the job training,
on the
basically.
job
Yeah,
training.
you get it, and if something goes down, you got to be ready to go right then. As far as your aim is not going to be right, and you know what to do and how to handle the reaction and the rebuttal from the gun, all of that. You just not used to it, but you try to act professional when the time is called upon because remember the guys are looking at you.
They are, and everything's about the guys.
It's not about you, it's about you trying to impress them as opposed to when you become a real man, if you're a part of a gang, you learn how to separate from the gang. You become an OG and you start to educate. And you start to teach the little homies on how to do better and not to do what you did. And that's the point and the part of my life that I'm at now, to where I become an OG and I teach and I give them different routes and different avenues to travel down: football,
Right.
rapping, entertainment, things other than what we had.
You once said that, getting shot is not like in the movies, because in the movies, the music comes on and it tells you someone's about to be shot. In real life, you might be walking down the street and suddenly a bullet hits you,
Right,
and you might not even know it.
right.
I mean, what is that like to be shot?
I mean, I've never been shot, but I've been next to people who've been shot. I've been shot at, and
Right.
I've actually been on the other end of that. So, with that being said, it's a scary moment because it can just happen. Like me and you sitting here talking, and Robin is over there talking, and
Right.
she brings us something to drink, and all of somebody's pop, 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 and then we have to react. Now, you may have a gun on you, she may have a gun on her, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna shoot back.
No, because you don't even know what you're shooting at.
Exactly.
Your life has to become incredibly paranoid at that point. You're probably sitting at home. I don't know if your mother's there or something. And you're like, oh God, I don't want to get her in trouble. I mean, your whole life is you're looking out both sides of the, you're looking all around all the time, wondering if you're safe.
It got to a point to where my mother kicked me out because she felt like I was bringing too much drama to her house with people wanting me and the people I hung around, and it didn't mix. So she was like, "You got to get out."
How old were you when she kicked you out?
I had just turned 17.
Jesus. And what do you do? I mean, it's not like you got somewhere to go. Where did you go?
Actually, it was a lady that lived on the spot, because the spot where we lived at was like a dope spot,
Hmm.
and she was using crack, and I had the crack sack, so she allowed me to stay with her for a few pieces of crack to live with her, and then I moved into my car, had an automobile, and then one night, probably 6 months after my mama kicked me out, my car was parked on the wrong side of the street with all my clothes in it and all my dope in it, and it got towed away.
Mm. So you were literally without anything.
Homeless, no dope, no nothing, just from scratch. Like,
Did your mother ever try to say to you, Snoop, what are you doing? I mean, this your life's going to hell in a handbasket. I'm forced to kick you out. Did you feel any kind of guilt or remorse about the relationship with your mother?
no, my mother was a great mama.
Yeah.
I love her to death because she did what a man was supposed to do. There wasn't no man in the house. So as I look back, I respect her for it. I didn't at the time because I was like, she's so mean, she's so hard on me. Why? And that made me rebel. But I understand now that she was trying to prevent me from the things that I went through. And that's tough love. And sometimes these parents nowadays need to use that tough love because there's too much of that kids getting away with everything. Take a time out. I ain't had no time outs.